So people become presumptuous with the way we behave due to the fact that they have not thoroughly observed the information given pertaining to the driving force that ultimately fuels our actions, but instead they look from a distance and think we are losing track of what matters the most based on the assumption that we are reckless by virtue of nature, and that is never the case. So if you're one of those people who have made a lot of mistakes in life and you think this is too big to be corrected, well, I want to let you know there are certain things that you now need to come to realize about that mistake that you have made, which seems to be too big in your sight. You see, one thing about mistake is that it opens room for improvement, so it is impossible to develop apart from the mistake. So there's a necessity to be caught up with a combination of mistakes taking place concurrently, such that you are able to improve. Because one thing that happens in many cases that we get to a point where we think we have accumulated an acceptable measure of experience in life, and we assume that there is nothing that we do not know about it. And I want you to know that, you see, life will constantly teach you, things that are extremely abstract to the standards of humanity, things that are not similar to those things that you experienced previously, and that is just how life is. So by virtue of assuming I cannot make mistakes, you ultimately shut room for improvement. And I'm not saying we go out there and make deliberate mistakes. No, allow life to teach you and test you, because this is what happens simultaneously in the process of living. And that is why we survive instinctively. I've heard people say only the brave, only the strong survive. That is never the case. Survival is one concept that serves its course naturally. It does not call from human strength, no. Because struggle is not necessarily infused upon life to make life a complication, but instead it weighs your ability to withstand the condition. And therefore, the intention is to observe your approach, and your approach then influences the condition, the depth of the condition, and the pain that comes through it. But one thing that you need to know is, through it all, despite this entire analogy of the concept of survival happens naturally. We do not survive because we are strong. We do not survive because we have been through life. We do not survive because we have experienced a combination of lessons in the movement. No, we survive naturally. So when life hits you down, it is normal to react irrationally and therefore try to make attempts to make the pain easier. And nobody has a reason to judge you, because I said to one of my sisters the other day, you see, the pain is not necessarily predicated on the depth of the wound whence it proceedeth from, but rather pain is pain due to the fact that you are the only person that feels it. And so when you begin to act as per the pain that is filled within you, people will not understand, but instead they'll be preposterous, and they will judge you preposterously without thoroughly considering the basis of your actions. But you just let them be, because there's no point in trying to make people to understand you, people who are never meant or who will never understand. But do not be too reluctant to break free from the condition and therefore succumb to this escape path, lest you accumulate habits and addictions that you will never be able to break free from. You look at people who are caught up, who are contending against unbearable addictions such as drinking. I can tell you all about it. We are prompt to judge them. But if you could take a sit with that individual and try to talk them through this condition, you'll realize that what they do is not something they love to. It's just a reactional act to, the pressure that comes through the complexity of the process of living. When we are caught up with reality, and being caught up with reality is infusing so much oppression, it is infusing so much pain, complication and confusion. We are constantly perplexed by the abstractness of the condition that we encounter, because we have set up an idea for ourselves that at this particular time I want to be there, and when you're not there at that particular time, you think, okay, now this is becoming a problem, and so you try to create escape paths. People go through extremely difficult problems, and I need humanity to realize that we cannot continue judging people wrongly. But instead, let us thoroughly observe the scales and the information given just before we raise any form of judgment, such that they since attach the judgment due to the fact that it was thoroughly observed before acted. Because when you perceive an act, when you see an act, you thoroughly weigh the scale through careful observation of the basis, not necessarily the act, but the basis of the act. And once you have done that, you have every right to judge, because whatever judgment that you bring out as a result of careful observation will be judgment that is sensible and true. Judgment that helps make amends to the fact that this individual is caught up with an addiction they cannot break free from, due to the fact that they cannot bear and handle the contents of being caught up with the reality of living. So this is one thing that humanity needs to understand. People, everyone is suffering, period. Everyone is going through some sort of pain that they completely enclose from the public eye, and for that reason they disguise this pain by virtue of constant smiles that are not necessarily a breeze to what is true, but rather completely false, because behind that smile is a combination of pains that if they were to tell you about, you would realize the fact that you are not the only one who is in pain. So when they make mistakes, let them be, because that's how we learn in life. If you think I cannot make mistakes anymore, well, you instantly shut room for improvement. And I'm not saying let's go out there and make deliberate mistakes. No, mistakes will happen, period. And that is one thing we cannot run away from, because this is how we learn to handle situations similar to the ones that we are unable to handle today, that lead us to make these mistakes. So once you have made this mistake, you will be able to handle a situation similar to this next time. And that's just how life is. Now, thank you.